The Calgary Police Service is once again asking for help to locate a man and a vehicle that are believed to be connected to a recent homicide at the intersection of 16th Avenue and 19th Street Northwest. Today we are releasing new information and photos in the hope that it will help with the search for these things. At approximately 11:15 p.m. on Wednesday, September the 9th, 2015, police were called to the intersection for reports of shots fired. Officers found a car stopped in the south curb lane along 16th Avenue Northwest, and an injured woman inside the vehicle was transported to the hospital, where she later succumbed to her injuries. The victim was identified as Kallen Brianne Carothers. Since that evening, we have been looking for a man who may also have been inside the vehicle at the time of the shooting. We now believe that man may be Osman Mohamed of Edmonton. Mr. Mohamed is described as a black male, 23 years of age, approximately 5'10" in height, with a slim build, brown eyes, and black hair. It is believed that he sustained injuries during the incident that would have required medical attention. We have also identified a vehicle that may be connected to this homicide. It is a dark blue, two-door Toyota Yaris with tinted windows that was last seen leaving the area. We need to find this vehicle and speak to Mr. Mohamed, and we are hoping that the public can help us locate them. Anyone who knows the whereabouts of Mohamed can identify the vehicle or has information about this incident is asked to contact police at 403-266-1234 or by calling the Homicide Unit tip line at 403-428-8877. Crime Stoppers can also be contacted. Thank you, and I will now take your questions.
Mr. Mohamed is listed on Edmonton Police's website as one of their most wanted for having a violent history. Can you comment at all on whether or not he was known to you folks here in Calgary before this incident?
We are specifically looking at Mr. Mohamed as a witness in this investigation, and that is the only parameter that you're looking at him for. So he was in the vehicle when the vehicle was shot, and that is why we need to speak with him.
You said last week that it wasn't clear if Kallen Carothers was the intended target of this shooting. Is that still the case, or have you identified maybe possibly another target here?
So we're still early in the investigation. This was a targeted attack, not a random attack, and we are still trying to determine if Ms. Carothers was the intended target or Mr. Mohamed was the intended target.
Is it safe to say that Mr. Mohamed's criminal history factors into what happened here?
Once again, all I can say is that we are looking at him as a witness in this case and can't comment on his past criminal history.
Could you interpret a comment made by Kallen's parents when they said that it looks like that she's not a gang member, but it looks like she's chosen some bad friends? Is Mr. Mohamed a gang member?
There's no indication that this is a gang-related shooting. All we know at this point is that it was a targeted attack and not random. The actual motive for the shooting, we don't know, just for the simple reason that we haven't identified who the suspects are. So, but what I can say is nothing in the investigation to date would lead us to believe that this is gang-related.
So who would you be speaking to then that would know Mr. Mohamed, that would be willing to tell you where he is and help you bring him in?
That's the point of the media release today, to get this information out to the public so that anybody who has information in relation to the whereabouts of Mr. Mohamed would be able to help us out in that regard.
What's the nature of the relationship between Ms. Carothers and Mr. Mohamed?
We are unsure of what that relationship is at this point. It's one of those things we are currently investigating.
Would a person not be worried about their own safety, though? I mean, to offer up more information about Mr. Mohamed?
I'm sorry, ma'am. You'll have to repeat your question.
Well, you're asking people to give more information about Mr. Mohamed, but you're not really sharing much of what you know about him. So if I'm at home and I'm watching this press conference
Mhm.
and I want to help police and I want to help Kallen's parents get some answers, I feel like I don't really know enough about this guy who might have been shot at to want to stick my neck out there and help without knowing more information about them. So can you tell me, why should people in the community want to help when they don't know very much about this guy who was apparently shot at?
Because we're currently investigating the homicide of a 23-year-old female, and that should be reason enough to come forward if you do have any information as to his whereabouts.
How are Kallen's parents doing? It's been a week, almost a week since their daughter was killed. I imagine it's still a really trying time for them, having not identified any suspects.
It's always difficult for the family members, especially right after a homicide occurs, when one of their loved ones been taken. And yes, they are going through an extremely tough time right now. We're working together with the family to provide them as much information as possible and help them through this time.
You mentioned in the press release that Mr. Osman may be injured. What exactly is the protocol for hospitals to notify the police if someone walks in with a gunshot wound or something like that? What exactly is the procedure for that? Like, are they obligated to let you know anytime someone walks through the door with a suspicious injury, such as a gunshot wound or a stab wound or something like that?
Yes, and we have a good working relationship with Alberta Health Services. It does vary from province to province. BC is the same, that when a gunshot victim does walk through the doors, that police are called.
And is there any idea or any speculation on how substantial his injuries may be? Could it be flying glass? Does he have a bullet in his arm? Is there genuine concern for this gentleman's well-being?
There is, and we believe he sustained at least one gunshot wound, and possibly two. So we are concerned about the safety and the well-being of Mr. Mohamed, and that also is one of the reasons why we would like to locate him.
Do you believe he's still in Calgary, or may he have returned to Edmonton?
We're not sure where he is, hence this plea. There's possibilities that he is in the city of Calgary. He is from the Edmonton area, as you mentioned. So has he gone back north? That's possible as well. We are working with our Edmonton Police Service contacts up in Edmonton right now to try and determine if there's been any contact with Mr. Mohamed up there. As well, we have touched base with our friends in British Columbia to see if there's been any contact in BC with Mr. Mohamed.
Given the nature of his injuries, is there a chance that Mr. Mohamed might have died?
We're unsure of his exact injuries. Is there a possibility of that? Yes, there is, but not likely.
Okay. Is that it?
Thank you.
Terrific. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, guys.